There is information that is going to save your life as the United States of America enters into a new era. And without this information, thousands of lives are going to be lost. It was brought to our attention that one of our Patreon cards that we sent out just last month was a card that had the potential to save people's lives. This was Queen Anne's lace. We talked about the identification, the use for its medicinal properties, and its edibility. And then just a couple of weeks later, we have news hitting the mainstream all across the U.S. saying that poison hemlock, which is another thing that we talk about in the Queen Anne's lace identification, is running invasively across the U.S. In fact, people are on ventilators right now just from touching this species. So you see how it can save your life to know things. You'll know what you can eat in the area around you. You'll know what is safe to touch. You'll know what you can do with it. You'll know its medicinal properties, but without that, if people just go into this future blindly, they are not going to know what to do, and they're going to be picking up everything. They'll be picking up with their hands the weeds across the street to give to their animals because they're trying to just keep their cattle or keep their goats or their rabbits alive so that they can feed their family. They think, well, I'm not touching it, I'm not eating it, it's okay. They pick it up, give it to their animals. Now their animals are dead. Now they have taken it into their body through their hands because some of these species are so poisonous, so toxic, that it can get into your bloodstream just by touching it. So this is mainstream media pointing this out just a couple of weeks after we sent out this Queen Anne's lace identification card to our Patreon members. Toxic invasive poison hemlock is spreading into the United States backyards across the country. A species, they say, that is deadly if eaten, wreaking havoc across parks and taking out animals across the country. Poison hemlock, which the news stories note resembles Queen Anne's lace, can be spotted on highways, right-of-ways, along fences, might even be in your backyard right now. It's rather inconspicuous. You don't even, you look at it, it's just a pretty flowering plant. It has lookalikes. You can eat Queen Anne's lace. You can't eat poison hemlock. One of them is going to sustain you, and then one of them is going to kill you. That's why this information is so important. That's why your own survival skills, people say, I don't have enough money to be a prepper. I don't have enough money to be prepared. Learning these things costs absolutely nothing. You can find all of these things for yourself, and you can do it for yourself, and you can create groups, and you can build your skills, and you can do all of these things so that you and your family will survive what is coming. The movement, according to agriculturalists, is scary because this plant is very toxic, and it's more of an opportunity, they say, for kids to play with it or pets or livestock to eat it. That's Dan Shaver with Indiana's Natural Resource Conservation Service. Now, it's not just Indiana, it's not just Montana, it's not just Pennsylvania, it's not just Alabama. It is all across the United States of America in nearly 50 of the states of the country. It's all across the world. It's not a plant you want around your home, they say. The toxic biennial can be found in nearly every state in the U.S., according to the National Park Service. This is the time that poison hemlock spreads to grow its footprint. Each plant produces 30,000 seeds. They ripen between the months of June and August after it flowers. The seeds are scattered during late summer. Humans, they say, are particularly at risk because it resembles edible plants, such as parsley, such as wild carrot. Now remember, there's wild parsnip too. That is another plant that you need to be aware of. Children have been poisoned by using the hollow stems as a flute or pea shooter. Now you think about this. The world is changing. Your children are home. You might be homeschooling. Their entire outlook is brought into a little bit more of a localized environment. They go around the property. They take walks with you. They're learning these things. They pick up a plant. Oh, look, it has a hollow middle. What are they going to do with it? Well, maybe I'll make a straw out of it. Maybe I'll use it. And the child thinks that they're doing something right because they know they've seen mom and dad blow on a fire to get the kindling started, to get the maybe coal from last night back to a red hot ember. They say, oh, well, I'll use this. It's a hollow stem. Maybe I'll blow on the fire. They put it up to their lips and now they are fatally poisoned. That's what can happen without knowledge. It's toxic to cattle, sheep, horses, pigs, poultry, everything. Poisoning causes death, offspring deformities, abortion, decreased milk, decreased meat. Cattle have been fatally poisoned by eating as little as 0.5% of their body weight. They say without you introducing it to them, most livestock won't just pick it up on their own. They've learned, they have a sort of innate sense not to eat it. They just stay away from it for the most part. But they're used to you bringing them food. Maybe they're only sustaining their life because you're bringing them food. You're going out and you're gathering all around your neighborhood, all around your hill. You're taking drives, whatever it might be, because your livestock is your life. You're trading that meat. You're bartering the eggs. You're eating the eggs, whatever it might be. And so that becomes your, instead of going to 8 hours, going to work for 8 hours at a job, your job now is to keep your family alive. And so you spend a lot of that time going out and getting wild edibles for your family and for your livestock. You throw a big old pile of weeds and grass and everything over the fence, not noticing that poison hemlock is in there. And now your livelihood is gone. This is one individual. It's so dangerous. They say a man has spent 41 days in the hospital on a ventilator because of it. He's unable to breathe on his own after he was exposed to it just doing yard work. We thought he was dehydrated, his wife says, so we drank a bunch of water, we watched a TV show, and we went to bed. Around 2 a.m., he wasn't able to breathe. They went to the hospital, he got admitted, but he continued to get worse over the next day. At this point, she says, he's in the ICU on a ventilator, on a chest tube bleeding from his lungs and a feeding tube. You see, you're not going to have this sort of care as the process gets worse in the United States of America. As we go from the state that we're in right now to a more third world country where healthcare is more limited, where police action is more limited, where both of these things might be non-existent at all, you're going to have changes. You're not going to have this sort of palliative or any sort of care. And so your knowledge saves your life. Your knowledge saves your family's life. It helps them. You give them food to eat and you know what not to touch. My son and I looked for pictures, she said. She thought it had something to do with the yard work. She asked her husband if he handled anything that he hadn't seen before. He said yes. He then described what he dealt with. Her son and her went to look for pictures, and they showed him pictures of poisonous plants in their area in Ohio. That's it right there. It was poison hemlock. The husband went to the hospital in May. She's hopeful he'll be home sometime in August. But that can't happen until he's off life-saving machinery that's breathing for him. He says that you should always know what you deal with. This is according to park services, agriculturalists, everywhere across the board. Your information, your ability to know these things is free. Ohio State University professor Joe Boggs, Draper, point out poison hemlock is one of the deadliest plants in the United States. You know, as we did this card, as we created this Patreon card, Kelly and I, we had thought, well, let's make it into a short film, because we can show how, and here was the scenario that we were going to show. We were going to show how somebody had, somebody that they wanted to poison. And so they gather the wild carrot, they gather the Queen Anne's lace, which is this right here, Queen Anne's lace. You can see it a little bit closer there. They gather the Queen Anne's lace. They gather just one poison hemlock. They cut up the Queen Anne's lace. They make it into a soup. They, of course, with care, cut up the poison hemlock. They put it into a different soup and they give it to that person. This is how a malicious person can do these things. And we wanted to show that so that you know that if you're not around your family, you need to watch everything that is happening, because that's how easily you can say, oh, that person's eating a beautiful wild carrot soup, but that person just ingested poison to which there is no antidote. So we talked about doing that, but I think it was more important to bring this to you right now, today. So Queen Anne's lace. It's also known as wild carrot. I'm going to read to you from the back because I do think that it is that important. It has edible and medicinal properties. When prepared properly, the young roots, -2 years, so under 2 years old, and the flowers are edible. The seeds can be used to create essential oils. They have antimicrobial, hypotensive, so high blood pressure medication, and diuretic properties. Warning, I say. Poison hemlock. I'll show you a little bit of the back here to show you all of the information that we try to give people so that they can make, these are waterproof. You can put them in your backpack. You can do whatever you want with them. Warning, poison hemlock is a deadly lookalike. Here are the key properties to look for when comparing the two. The stem of Queen Anne's lace is hairy. Poison hemlock is not. You're not going to see hair on the stem. Queen Anne's lace is free of purple blotches on the stem that is seen on poison hemlock. The flowers, I point out. Both flowers bloom in an umbrella-like, close to umbrella-like shape, but at the center, poison hemlock, Queen Anne's lace, at the center has a single purplish flower. I forget the exact, do you remember the exact reason they called it? They called it Queen Anne's lace because they said that a drop of her blood had hit into the center, and that was how they sort of materialized that nomenclature, or the naming convention of Queen Anne's lace being represented by that flower. So it's flat, more flat topped, and it has a single purplish flower in the center, and I think you can probably still see that just a little bit, that black dot in the center there. Poison hemlock is more rounded with no purple flowers. The leaves, I note, this is sometimes the hardest feature to identify, I say. Both plants have fern-like leaves. However, Queen Anne's lace will have hair on the underside, similar to the stems. Now, you don't want to be up there just touching the leaves to see if this is poison hemlock or Queen Anne's lace, because by the time you touch the leaves, it's already too late. You touched it. So if you didn't use some sort of barrier between you and the plant, well, now you just have taken some of that in, and now you have to deal with that. So Queen Anne's lace will have hair on the underside. Poison hemlock will not. In addition, an additional feature to look for is that at the base of the flowers, Queen Anne's lace will have a three-pronged stem-like leaf system at the base of the flowers and the main umbel. The poison hemlock will lack these leaves. Positive identification, I say, adds to the medicinal and wild edible quality of your planting. Now, guys, this is very important for you and your family. You have to learn these things. You don't have to go to my Patreon. You don't have to go subscribe to anyone anywhere, but you have to learn these things. That's what's important for you. You have to gain these skills, because without them, I have had people local to me get sick from other people local to me telling them they could eat that plant. It wasn't poison hemlock, thankfully, because poison hemlock, there is no antidote. Your body either will make it through it or it will not make it through it. And so we need to gain this information. It's free. All the time people say, I don't have enough money to have, thousands of dollars worth of food, tons and tons of ammunition. It doesn't matter. You'll survive because of the skills that you have built. Building fires when you're wet, keep your body acclimated to the temperature that you need to stay alive. Shelter, security, water, and food. You do these things over and over again, and you're going to make it through whatever we see thrown at us in this changing world. Guys, from my family to yours, please stay safe, remain vigilant, and keep watch.